Welcome back to Disc Golf Over 40. Today, filming indoors for a little bit of this, but I have a bunch of outdoor footage I'll be sharing from testing 6 different discs. My goal with the testing today is a little bit different. We're going for max distance with minimal effort, and I've incorporated several discs here, some of which are new discs I haven't tried before, or different plastics and weights from viewer recommendations. We'll be testing out, of course, the tried and true Neutron Trail I've had forever, 168 grams. The Fission Trail, brand new, 166 grams. This DX Leopard, 161 grams. This Pro Plastic Gorgon, which is 168 grams. Then we've got the Mamba DX version, 161 grams. And the Valkyrie DX version, which is also 161 grams. Never had thrown Valkyrie at all. Lots of good recommendations for it. And I decided to go with these lighter weights because I knew I was going for something that didn't require a lot of power to get it to fly according to its expected numbers. So let's get into it. I'll show you how things ended up. I had some definitely unexpected results. Okay, so let's talk about the field work. Now remember, my form is always a work in progress, doing my best, but steadily improving. Now, my goal with these throws was to throw about 75% of max force on the throw, right? I'm not trying to really kill it. And so I do my best to not do that. And I'm just taking, one step and trying for a nice straight back and nice lead with the elbow release. That's my main goal here. So we started out with the Neutron Trail, showed a representative throw. It was a bit of a hyzer. As far as the performance of the Neutron Trail in this field session, I ended up with a max distance of 303 feet, and I ended up with all 5 of those throws within my circle 2 radius of 66 feet from my target. Note the target was my car in the distance there. Okay, so this one did quite well. Accuracy was great. The brand new Fission Trail that I will never throw down my hill because I've lost 2 down there. 166 grams. Enjoyed throwing it. I ended up with this disc getting 308 feet for my max throw, and only 2 out of 5 were in circle 2 radius. I kept grip locking it a little bit to the right. The throw I am showing here kind of demonstrates that. But still was a great disc. It was enjoyable to throw, and I'm happy that I got a third one that I will keep a lot better track of. Okay, next I'll show with you a throw from the Valkyrie. This throw was a little bit straighter and not as much of a turnover shot, but a lot of the throws were kind of turnovers with these DX discs I have. This particular disc ended up with a max distance of 310 feet, and 2 out of 6 throws, I ended up with an extra throw included in the metrics here. 2 out of 6 throws within circle 2. So distance-wise, Valkyrie really surprised me, absolutely surprised me. It was slightly farther than these other 2 discs, and yeah, that was dependent on wind conditions, I will say though. But let's continue on. Gorgon. So with the Gorgon, my max distance throw was 306 feet. I ended up with 3 out of 5 within circle 2 radius. Now I'll say, comparing the Gorgon with the Fission Trail, these, for me, fly pretty much identically. 168 gram Gorgon, Pro Plastic, Fission Trail, 166 gram. Identical behavior for the most part, okay? Note that the numbers on this Gorgon are a -3 on the turn, so it's more understable in the Pro Plastic than the regular plastic. But just almost exactly the same thing. I do like the feel of the Fission Trail more though. This has kind of a blunt edge that's just a weird feeling for a 10-speed driver to me. Feels a little more bulky in your hand. Does that matter? I don't know. It still goes far. So anyway, almost the exact same thing for me. Next, let's look at the Leopard. This one I feel like was more inconsistent. The throws, yeah, I did measure all the distances from circle 2. I ended up with 3 out of 5 in circle 2, max distance of 290. This Leopard seemed to mostly turn over though and roll for me. The shot in the field here that I've shared of this throw was exceptionally good for this disc. It was like the best throw I saw, period. So went nice and straight, and it did a nice S-curve. Pretty happy with that. Okay, Mamba. So with the Mamba, this is the DX version. I have this G-Star version as well. These are 163 gram, 161 gram. This one I've had for a while. I've tested before. It behaves more understable than my 168 gram trail, slightly. Sorry, that's overstable. This one is far more understable than this one. And as you can see in the throw here, it turned over and ended up rolling a bit on the ground. Every single throw in the field did that. I still ended up with 3 out of 6 throws. I included a 6th throw with the Mamba being within circle 2 and max distance 310 feet. Okay, so for my throws, playing the round of 9 holes, I'm going to show the favorite throw from each hole and give you an idea of who ended up where relative to the basket. So, and we're just going to be talking circle 1 for all these holes. My metric here is which one landed within circle 1 or closest, if that didn't happen with any of them. All right, so hole 1, we ended up with favorite throw, closest throw, the Mamba. This is about a 240-foot throw, and no wind this day, or if there was wind, it was a tailwind on this particular hole. And it behaved a lot more straight and slightly stable. Looked great, ended up within circle 1 with the Mamba. Also in circle 1 on that hole was the Valkyrie and the Gorgon. So good performance from those guys. Hole 2, the second hole, I'm showing the Valkyrie because I liked the flight of it for that hole a lot. It was nice and straight, and it ended up landing right almost on top of where the Neutron Trail had landed with a little bit more stable flight. So we ended up with Valkyrie, Neutron Trail, and Leopard all within circle 1. Leopard had a pretty darn good throw too. Okay, hole 3. This one I didn't get everything on camera, but I really loved the Valkyrie throw that I had on this hole. And this one, this throw was actually a 305-foot throw going for the 270-foot basket. I was totally shocked that it went that far, totally unintentionally. The same hole, the Mamba, 310 feet. So on that hole overall, we had Valkyrie, Mamba, and Gorgon that were within actually circle 2. I didn't have anything within circle 1. Okay, next hole, hole 4. This one, I ended up with the best throw on the Neutron Trail. It did hit a tree. It would have been even better. Barely hit a branch, but a nice overstable flight from the Neutron Trail to about a 240-foot hole within circle 1. I also was pretty happy with the Valkyrie position also within circle 1 on that hole. Okay, let's go to hole 5. This hole, I just hit nothing but trees with everything except the Gorgon made it through, which you're seeing in the throw. And this one was closest, though I don't know if it was even within circle 1. But it went nice and straight. It was kind of a weird air bounce type shot because it went down and then back up. Not something I did intentionally, but it might be fun to get better at that. Okay, let's look at hole 6. This hole, I'm showing the Mamba shot. I really liked this really nice long straight and then hyzered right over right in line with the target. And ended up in a great position. I also was happy with the Valkyrie and the Fission Trail and the Neutron Trail, all for that hole. They all kind of lined up in front of the hole, and so that was pretty good. Next, let's go hole 7. Hole 7, I'm showing the Valkyrie shot. I loved this hyzer shot. This is a 200-foot, yeah, just a plain 200-foot hole. I didn't figure this would work well at all, but I did a steep hyzer. It flattened out nice, but maintained the stable trajectory and landed right by the basket. And I was just pretty shocked. I was also happy with the Gorgon. It basically flew the same way for me on that hole. I was also happy with the Leopard that also did great, and the Fission Trail. They all just kind of flipped up just the right degree to end up where I wanted them. Not a disc I normally would ever choose for that kind of a curve around the corner shot. Man, that was just amazing how well those did. So I'm learning something by testing these discs that that you wouldn't expect to do well on a shot like that. I found some pretty awesome results. All right, hole 8. Nothing but the Valkyrie was within circle 1, and that's the throw I'm showing you once again. Starting to see a theme here. The Valkyrie had a nice throw. It ended up hitting a tree, which actually helped not go too far to the right, but really a nice straight shot, nice S-curve. And then on the last hole, this was a longer hole I just wanted to try between trees, kind of a tunnel shot in the distance. And I was able to get that Valkyrie in between those trees, and about as far a throw on that hole, it's a little uphill, as I've ever thrown. It wasn't way far, but it was about 250 feet. That hole's just hard for me to get very much farther than that. But I was so happy with how that Valkyrie did. So the rest of them hit trees, so maybe it's not the fairest comparison. But anyway, let's go to my on-course comments at the end of all of this. This is what I'm seeing so far. If you're not trying to throw hard as much, the Mamba and the Valkyrie and these DX plastics will actually go farther than expected. If you're trying too hard, like I was yesterday, they won't go quite as far as, say, the Gorgon or the Fission Trail or the Neutron Trail. There's definitely far more S-curve potential for a hard throw with the Gorgon and the and the Fission Trail than the Neutron Trail. And certainly all these DX ones are made for an S-curve. I'm just trying to figure out that right throw power, get a feel for if it's controllable for me to throw softer on these in between long and short throws. Feels like it's working pretty good though. Liking the discs. Probably least favorite is Leopard for me. These are all on the lighter side too, which doesn't help the Leopard work for me. But I'm probably gonna give that one to my dad because he loves the Leopard, as I've said many times. And then Fission Trail and Gorgon are my favorite for distance. Intentional distance. Mamba and Valkyrie are going to go farther than you expect though. So anyway, lots of fun. Okay, so had a ton of fun doing this. I found a disc I'm extremely happy with. I feel like it's a little more trustworthy than the Mamba for me, but I had some great throws from both of these discs in DX plastic, 161 grams. Pretty fun to learn something. I don't usually buy these cheaper plastics, but you know, I don't feel like I've ever beat in a disc enough to where I really saw major flight characteristic changes, and so I feel like it's totally worth trying these and seeing how long they do what they do. Maybe you could say this trail's beat in enough to have a different flight characteristic. I don't know. but still more overstable than those two guys. And I do like that about it, honestly. You can really rip this thing and it's going to go more reliably where you want it to go. I do feel like you can also really rip these guys, the Fission and the Trail and the Gorgon. I just got to get to where I don't grip lock these. I don't know why I'm grip locking them. Maybe they're deeper or something than this Fission, or excuse me, Neutron Trail, but some difference. You get used to the feel of your preferred discs, right? Anyway, a lot of fun. Love to hear your thoughts on any of these discs. If you guys have used them successfully, I know plenty of you recommended these over time, and I'm happy for the recommendations. But yeah, share anything you'd like to share. I think these are great beginner drivers. I definitely recommend all three of these DX discs I got as beginner drivers, because I feel like they're a lot easier to do an S-curve than these other more premium plastic discs. So, highly recommended. I know I've said that before, but I haven't done these types of in-depth tests myself on discs like this. So, a lot of fun. Thanks. If you've watched this far, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.